Oh, I'm going to burp. Maybe not. Another $1,000 for you. It's your last chance today to get $1,000 from the Buzzard Bookie. It will start back up tomorrow morning during RMG. But you get about a dozen chances every day. Stansbury's got them. I've got them. So that very last one today in about 5 or 6 minutes, and then we will throw you headlong into this week's Poundcake Sports Break that he has painstakingly prepared. A lot of people hit me up over that guy who the girl was pissed because he split the check on their first date, their Tinder date. Alan, the younger males do not get all the ass they want. They're just cheap, so they don't want to pay for anything, and they also think it's feminism if you can make somebody else pay half. Alan, as a female, I will offer to pay the bill or go halvesies, but I still expect the male to decline and pay.
Now that's feminism.
That's a test, right? And if you fail, there won't be a second date.
I'll pretend like I'm going to pay, but then won't.
Like you said, T-Rex arms.
Mm-hmm.
Whomever's idea it was to go on the date pays. If she ordered,
that's how Brian and I do it, but we've been together almost 4 years.
Right, but also it's like when I was just dating, like that's how I did it. Plus, I mean,
I like the obligation that it creates.
That now they're indebted to you.
Right.
See, I don't like I don't like being beholden to anyone for anything. So I just always pay. I mean, even, Gwen and I have been married over 10 years. We've been together 15 years. And there's times she'd pay, obviously. But I guess maybe that's where I'm a chauvinist, is I like paying. I think I should pay.
I think so,
I don't know that that's chauvinistic.
Well, it's definitely old school. Like,
It's
I
old
opened the
school.
door for my wife, and I just remember all the things my dad did for my mom. And
Chauvinistic
that's
is
kind of
like,
how I grew up. I saw my dad, like, pulling my mom's chair out. I saw my dad pumping my mom's gas. I saw, so it's like, I don't do all of those things, obviously. My wife's a grown woman, but it's like, I open doors, and I open the car door, and I did that when I was dating. What are you laughing at?
The first thing when you started listing off things, I was like, stop being gay. Like, I don't know.
Are gay guys opening the door for you?
I'm just like, that's lame. Like,
that's straight gay.
So
is it?
I love it. I very much, very, very much so like that stuff.
I mean,
like
my thought is
flowers bought for me. And
I don't think there's a
dinners paid
downside
for.
unless you've offended someone, but I don't ever recall that happening where somebody was offended that I did something like that. And if they were, I go, message received. I won't do that anymore.
Brian doesn't do that all the time. Like, he won't open the door for me every single time we get in the car. But if we're going out on a date, like we're going to dinner, he pulls out all the stops. So he'll open my car door. He'll make sure, like, my heated seat is on while he's warming up the car. Like, he does stuff like that for date nights.
I don't think there's any downside to that stuff.
Some women
Heat
are
your
like,
own
I can do
seats,
it
ladies.
myself. Yeah.
You
Some
fart
women
in your
don't
own
want it.
chair on your own time.
That's how he heats it. He just sits in there and farts until my seat is warm.
Honey, is the car warmed
That's
up?
actually very progressive.
Not yet. It's not yet. It's on, but honey, it's still like, every girl wants to be a feminist until this happens, somebody says. See, I think that's a little disingenuous, too. Feminism isn't one thing. And you can be a feminist and still like some of those things.
Being
The fact that
treated
makes
nice.
guys' heads explode is not their fault. Alan, I never pay on the first date. I know way too many women that just get on Tinder for a free meal or drinks.
That'd be me.
That's part of it too. Like, it's this minefield. I have no idea. If I was single and dating on apps, well, let's be real. I would just,
Well, also,
But
that's why I never would say, let's go to dinner for a first date. Dinner is not a first.
I think coffee, ice cream, a drink,
I like-
something
so-
short and cheap should
Yeah,
be first
okay.
date.
I like going to the art museum's a great first date because you can walk around and you
the
can
fart
talk.
museum, I'm sorry.
I mean, when I'm there, it's the fart museum. Hey.
Ew.
You're so stupid.
Here's Bill in the Monet exhibition.
There's wrong
Trying to
people
get Poundcake to smell the chair.
that I got yelled at for.
No, I'm about, like, go to a park and walk around, or go to I like a walking date because I think that's a good activity. Or you get some ice cream and walk around, or you get coffee and walk around. I like
that was always my first date was always either coffee, ice cream, something short.
And not costly.
No, it takes an hour of your time at most.
You're trying to get to know somebody. And you can tell pretty quick when you get in, because if it goes good, let's hang out again. If it's not a good date, you got to easy out. You're like, okay, we had some time constraints here.
You still have the
nice
night.
to meet you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
You can still get out there and do something else that night.
I remember I went on a date with a guy, and we got to the place a little late, and they were closing. And so we were like, okay, you want to meet up at this other place? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then we got in the car. We went in our separate cars, and he sent me a text like, yeah, I'm not interested. So he didn't want to meet up. I was like, oh, okay.
That's awesome.
We met for a split second, and we saw that the place was closing. So he was like, oh, we could go here. And I was like, okay, I'll meet you
I've
there.
done that.
We got in the car.
I've never done that. I usually even if
they're trying to go to a second. Well, because one time it was a date with a girl, and she was so drunk, and I was just heading out, and I was like, hey, before you call your Uber or whatever, because I think she was trying to drive. I didn't even want her to drive, but she was really belligerent, and I was just like, hey, I'm not going. I'm done for the night. This is not going well. We tried. Good night.
There's a guy I went on one date with, and we went and had food, and then it was right when Lakewood Truck Park opened. So we ate food on the same road as Lakewood Truck Park, and then walked to Lakewood Truck Park because I was
That's
sober.
a series of food trucks.
Yes.
For people who are not hip to that.
And there's 2 bars there. So we walked there, and I was like, oh, I've been wanting to check this place out. And he got a drink, and I got a mocktail. And then he knew people there. And we weren't very into each other. It was fine. It wasn't, I felt like we both were kind of like, whatever. And so we go to this place. He gets a drink. He ends up running into a group of friends. I finished my mocktail. I was like, all right, have a good night. And he stayed with his friends, and I left.
Yeah,
because
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Where it was just like, we tried, not for us. See you, bye.
Alan, if we don't go Dutch, then we better go Greek back at my place. Wow. You talk about, hey, Joe.
I was like, oh, I'm going to check this place out. And he got a drink, and I got a
Hello, Joe.
Joe, you sound like Mary.
I was like, is that what I sound like?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Terrible.
Yikes.
Joe.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Joe.
I was at Arby's in Pennsylvania, and they had deer meat sandwiches. And I was in Maine at a McDonald's, and they had McLobster sandwiches.
Yeah, the main thing makes sense. I didn't know. I lived in Pennsylvania for a long time. I don't remember deer meat, McDeer meat or whatever.
At Arby's.
Oh, Arby's.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I didn't get it because I was on a hunting trip, and I was been hunting deer since I was 12. I went there for beef and cheddar, not a deer sandwich.
You didn't want to spoil your dinner. Right. Deer meat at Arby's. Okay, thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. There's Joe, who was waiting for quite some time. I appreciate you hanging out. He's out there in Glen Willow. Where is Glen Willow?
That is over by Beechwood.
All right, sir.
Right in between.
Let me give you this money, and then we will get right into your Poundcake sports break for this Wednesday. This is your last chance to grab $1,000 today from the Buzzard Bookie, so good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Play ball! This is a Poundcake Sports Break.
In the headlines today, I'm pretty sure I reported on this story when it broke, but there have been some developments. So Houston Rockets coach Ime Udoka and actress Nia Long have settled their child support battle, and I believe Nia Long is the winner. You may remember the couple's infamous split back in 2022 when an affair between Udoka and the team liaison came to light. Udoka is ordered to pay $32,000 a month in child support. Now that's $384,000 a year. Cha-ching! Forget about putting that kid through private school with all the pay discrepancies amongst black actresses in Hollywood. I guarantee this is the best payday Nia has ever had. I'm sure she didn't make as much in Boys in the Hood, Friday, Big Mama's House 1 and 2, and Are We There Yet? combined. So their child together is only 13. So you got about 5 years to live the life you've always wanted to, the life you deserve. So I'm just going to say that. Also, in today's least shocking news ever, Tristan Thompson is a cheater. This time it's not on Khloe that we know of. It's the Cavs. Tristan tested positive for a banned performance-enhancing drug, and as a disciplinary measure, he's been suspended 25 games without pay. Now, I know everyone wants to harp on Tristan, but suspended without pay is a hit to anyone, especially someone who financially supports so many people, including his disabled brother, who I think he is legal guardian of. So he has him. And also, what about all the hoes that depend on him? How will they eat? How are they going to get their rent paid? Them phones about to get cut off? Man, y'all better get Mint Mobile. Leave it to Tristan Thompson to be right back in the woods after getting off of Jordan Woods. He just cannot get it right. And lastly, Cameron Dicker, the Chargers kicker, wasn't afraid to show his skin at the Anaheim Ducks game. We have a clip of him chugging a beer on the Jumbotron here. Very short but to the point. But Mr. Dicker looked tipsy, but unfortunately he wasn't their good luck charm because the Ducks lost. Hopefully the after party was better than the actual game because you know what they say? Beer before Dicker, you'll never be sicker. But Dicker after beer, you're in the clear. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this Poundcake Sports Break.
Dicker before beer. What was it again? Beer before Dicker?
Beer before Dicker,
sicker.
Yeah, pretty good. Cameron Dicker, the Chargers kicker. That was my favorite part.
Dicker the kicker.
Yeah, that's right.
This nickname I learned.
All right, there you go. Congratulations. There is your Poundcake Sports Break. How about Jim Harbaugh probably going to be the coach of your L.A. Chargers, Bill? What do you think about that?
Finalize it. We'll see what happens.
They really
He's a
are.
good coach. I don't.
Pete Carroll was trying to get in there.
But he makes a great cameo in Detroiters.
Yeah, right.
The cameo in Detroiters where he's trying to throw the football to knock the can up, and he just keeps missing.
But
getting increasingly angry. So.
Yeah. Could this be a way for him to get super paid by the University of Michigan? Because they would be offering him the biggest coaching contract ever.
I mean, he's going to get however much money he wants.
But you're going to get more money in college than the pros.
Not necessarily.
I mean, in this situation, so they say initially
but he can leave right now and just be a legend, and
yes.
I think he wants to win a Super Bowl too. So
they initially denied the whole thing that Jim Harbaugh was talking to the L.A. Chargers, and then little by little they kind of breadcrumb out, and they say, well, we're in striking distance of a deal, and that he would be bringing a whole bunch of guys from his coaching staff in Ann Arbor with him. What's his name? Shamar Moore or whoever his right-hand man.
Shamar Moore is an actor.
Sorry.
A very beautiful actor.
Right. Well, that guy would...
How's he at coaching?
That guy would be...
I mean, he's already in L.A., it sounds like.
That guy would be the coach of the Wolverines. He was the guy that coached when... I think he coached the Ohio State game.
Yeah.
When they beat him.
Because Harbaugh was suspended for cheating.
But it would be the biggest ever college coaching career, I think.
You mean contract?
Yeah, I'm sorry, contract.
Yeah.
When Brian Kelly left Notre Dame for Louisiana State, he left. That was a big, big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Big deal. He left because they offered him $100 million for 10 years. Jim Harbaugh, so the word is that Michigan is trying to get him to stay, and they would give him $11.5 million a year for 9 years. So it's a $103 million contract. He ain't going to get $103 million out of the LA Chargers. He's just not. And you can be a king. You're the king when you stay a college coach. I don't know. I thought that this whole thing was like all rumors, but now it sounds like he's going to L.A. We were kind of hoping he'd kick the tires on the Bears, but
they didn't fire their coach.
I thought they were going to. So, yeah, they said that if he goes to L.A., he's taking a lot of dudes from Michigan with him. Jesse Minter, and obviously he would take his son. Jay Harbaugh is a special teams coach.
The offer that the Chargers are reportedly offering is in the $90 million range. But I don't know how many years that would be for.
I want $90 million.
Sharon Moore is the OC for U of M, and he's like the heir apparent.
Yeah.
And they just re-signed him to a sweet deal, too, assuming that, we'll be set if Harbaugh skips. But anyway, we'll see. I don't know. But my wife is a big Wolverines fan, so that would
confident in anything that you could coach or teach for $90 million a year?
Yep.
No.
Nope, I could do it.
What could you teach for and feel like okay about making $90 million a year?
It's a guaranteed contract?
Guaranteed contract. But I feel like you have to be so confident. To get paid that amount of money, you have to be like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
Well, it's not like he asked for that money. Michigan is throwing him they're backing up the truck because they want to keep him.
But that's what I'm saying.
That's why I wonder if this whole thing with L.A. is just
to get more
leverage
money.
on U of M.
Like, Alan, would you be comfortable teaching like a broadcasting class or something like that? Or coaching young and up-and-coming broadcasters?
I mean, I've spoken to young and up-and-coming broadcasters. I don't know. Poundcake didn't even listen to my advice when he first started on the show.
That's not how you're going to get paid.
So no, I'm not. So no, I'm not confident that no. No.
I'm trying to think.
Nothing.
Living poor? I could probably teach a class on that for $90 million.
But those people can't afford
to take it. It's over 10 years.
They can't afford to take it.
But no. I'm saying a company would pay me, and I would teach people how to survive on no money.
Well, we could all do that. We've all been dirt poor at some point.
Right, but she's trying to think of the thing that she'd be most confident in teaching.
What would I accept that much money? You have to be an expert.
Right, but
bingo.
But here's the thing. It's not really commensurate with your level of expertise.
But it should be, is my point.
I understand. I'm just saying that when it comes to
that's
sports,
market value. That's
when these guys can go to another team and get tons of money. Look what happened. You know who the second highest paid guy is right now? The dude at Michigan State.
Yeah.
Who crapped the bed as soon as he signed like a $90 million
and they're trying to get out of it. And then
yes.
Who's the guy that they fired in?
Mel Tucker, because they let him go because he was talking sweet to some.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't care what I'll say. I'm good at coaching football. If it means that as long as the contract's guaranteed, I can do it all. Whatever you are offering for that $90 million, and the contract's guaranteed, I'll be like, yeah, I got this. And then you fire me after 8 days because I don't have it. Well, it's guaranteed, so I'm fine.
I guess. Hey, Joe. Hello.
Alan, how are you guys doing?
What up, man?
Not much. I heard you talk about Harbaugh, whether he should stay with Michigan or go to the NFL. If I'm not mistaken, he still has some NCAA sanctions against him. So the easiest way for him to get out of those is to go to the NFL. So I think that's why
the old
he's
Pete
probably
Carroll
going to lean towards the NFL.
Yeah, but Michigan already knows that, and they're still going to offer him a giant truck of money.
Sure, but I think that the stigma behind the quote-unquote scandal and everything, I think he is going to want to leave that behind.
Because then it doesn't come to – I get what you're saying. Because if he stays, then everyone's talking about that scandal again when those sanctions come down. Whereas if he leaves, he's leaving as the national championship coach. So that actually makes a lot of sense. I know what I could do for $90 million, by the way.
Fart.
Exactly. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
I could teach a class on how to aggravate Mary Santora for $90 million, and it would be perfect.
Don't ever do that. You drive me nuts already.
Yeah, but she'd kill herself a year into your contract, and then what do you do?
It's guaranteed, man. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
And it all slides around and it mushes out and nothing stays where it's supposed to stay.
How could you teach that, though? Because most of it is just inherent to who you are.
I could teach it.
It's learned behavior.
Yeah.
It's hard to pass on to someone else. I'm going to take a break here. If you want to send a text, 35192, AlanCoxShow.com for everything else.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app. There are many harsh lessons to be learned from the